Okay, so this is the day 26 review. We got up and left Eureka this morning. Today was going to be a short day. I think 132 miles, 140 miles, something like that. Just getting down to Kalispell. Um, gave up on trying to go in the back way to Glacier via Graves Road and Forest Service 114 and Trail Creek Road. So instead, we ran down US 93 a little ways to Dickey Lake and got off on Trago Road, which is just a little community right off the highway. Community center, school. I don't know how many homes. It was pretty small, but it's a neat little place. And then got on Fortine Creek Road. Ran that for a pretty good ways down into the woods. A lot of fun. A lot of deer, big deer again, just a lot of deer in the mornings. Eventually that started crossing the Burlington Northern Railroad track, Santa Fe. Yeah. And just kind of follows those railroad tracks down through the forest and pretty long way. I mean, that's the Gatun National Forest, however you say that. But then eventually it turns a little bit away from the railroad track, but it's a really fun road. It was really narrow, up, down, mostly good pavement. Eventually it becomes Wolf Creek Road, and this ran for a really long time. Again, just really fun, twisty, zipping through the woods, no shoulder at all, lane and a half wide, trees right up against, so you got to be careful. You can't, ride like a maniac, and you're in the mountains, so there's always decreasing radius corners. So yeah, we had to watch for those. Eventually that kind of ran, it ran south for a while, and then eventually started running kind of south, east, west. I mean, I don't know, it kind of zigzagged all over the place, and hooked back up with the train track again and just followed this train track all through the woods. We were going back and forth under it. I actually had trains on it a few times, so we went underneath the trains. It was kind of cool. Crossed the trains. And then got to a section where it looked like it didn't get a lot of traffic. And they didn't spend much time, preparing the roadbed before they paved it. So there was like maybe three, like tire ruts. There's the shared center rut and then the two outside ruts, and lots of big potholes, and it got pretty rough, but it was still paved. And it was just really fun. It did get bumpy in a few places, and then eventually it just straightened out. It followed the railroad, and there was a creek. It followed the creek, and then eventually it gets down to Fisher River, and we turned south there, and I think that's Fisher River Road. Fisher River Road. Ran that for a real short distance, and then started heading down towards US 2, right near Loon Lake, Lower Loon Lake. And that was just a fun couple hours of running through the woods. Some places the road was, up high on the side of the mountain, looking down over pretty steep drop-offs, especially where the Fisher River was. The last few miles before we got to US 2 was really good pavement, and fun curves, and no guardrails, so you had to be careful. Then we got down to US 2 and started heading east, and then thought, no, let's backtrack. We want to get on the back side of the lakes. And so we actually backtracked, and there is a road. I don't know if it shows. Oh, no, that was a little bit different, a little further down. Yeah, we went past Loon Lake, got down US 2, and there's this road, and it's got ACM. I don't know what that stands for. It was just a straight road. Started out with big chunky gravel. Got through that, and then it was just like graded small gravel dirt. I guess they had patched a bad spot. That eventually dropped us back out on 2, though, right down. There's all these lakes. There's just a whole string of lakes that run down there. Thompson Lakes. Um, so somewhere in the middle, that road stopped. We crossed to, got on the south side of the lakes and ran this dirt road that continued, and it's ACM, whatever that is. But ran that pretty far south until we got to a little road called Lane Creek Road or Lane, something like that. It was pretty cool. Went through the drainage for those lakes and then zigzagged back up a hill and eventually got us back on the highway. And then we just had to drone all the way to Kalispell. Kind of boring, a lot of traffic. Wasn't hot though. I mean, it was nice. Quite a few lakes. You're just constantly passing lakes around here. It seems like, or rivers. So we got into Kalispell, pulled into a grocery store parking lot, tried to use Expedia to find a room, and Expedia just, it was working great the first week or so, 2 weeks of the trip for finding rooms and hotels and stuff. And now all of a sudden it's like it's just no results, no results, no results. And I don't know if that's because these hotels aren't using Expedia or because the hotels are just booked and it can't find anything. Because what I've had to do is just pull up Google Maps and just, let it figure out where I'm at, and then type in hotels, and it shows me every hotel in the area. And then I just had to manually call each hotel to see, do they have rooms left? And tried a Best Western here in town, and they started at $370. Called another place. They were about the same, $370. And that's even with like the AAA discount. So yeah, kind of pricey. So eventually we found a Quality Inn right on the edge of town, right on the alternate 93 and US 2 intersection. And it's nice. I mean, the room is huge. Bathroom, is decent. Had probably the best shower of any hotel we've been in lately. Really good water pressure. Really hot water when you want it hot. Really cold when you're tired of being hot and you want to just cool off before you get out. No hot tub. Wasn't really worried about that tonight. We didn't use it. But we got checked in. And kind of like what we did yesterday, we dumped the luggage off the bikes, got the heavy stuff off the bikes, emptied out all the saddlebags and took off all the camping gear, and basically just had the stuff we carried in our tail bags. And we decided to head out of town towards Glacier Park and run up North Fork Road. And we're pretty far from there, so it was like, I don't know, 20 miles or so just to get to the start of it, of just driving through boring traffic. But once we got there, it's a real nice, it immediately becomes a real nice road running off through the forest. I don't know what North Fork River or what the river is that runs right there, but the water is just crystal clear. Crystal clear. It's really pretty. You can see way deep. Yeah, it's the North Fork of the Flathead River. And just these incredible views because the road's up high. Come around a corner and you see the river down below. You see the mountains on both sides. Dead trees everywhere. They obviously had fires, big fires through here, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. So the trees that are here are new growth, but there is a lot of new growth, all throughout the dead trees. But it's just kind of cool seeing the dead trees sticking up and lit up by the sun and everything. And this was after 3 o'clock because I was thinking somewhere I saw you had to have a permit to get on this North Fork Road. I never saw any kind of an entry or anybody anywhere that you had to check in, like any kind of a gate or anything. We just went up the road. And eventually, when you get up somewhere up past where the river and the road meet, it turns to gravel. Really severe washboards. It's a big, wide road, but really severe washboards with nasty potholes scattered about. And they put that white gravel down on it so it's loose and crunchy. So you're sliding, you're bouncing, you're trying to brake going into a corner, and your front end's hopping all over the place. And that lasted for a pretty good while. We got up past, there's the little road that cuts back to the going to the Sun Highway. Kamaz Road or something like that. Yeah, I think that's what it is, Kamaz Road. Once you get past that, the gravel kind of goes away and it's just dirt, but the potholes, I mean, there's just no clean lines through them. I mean, basically, it's just lean back as far as you can, get your weight over the back tire, stay as loose as you can on the front tire, and go faster than the speed limit, which is 35 miles an hour, which if you do that, you're hitting every single hole and it's brutal. So yeah, we were, running 45, maybe 50 on the straights. But you got to really slow down for the corners because you hit one of these corners with all these potholes, and it doesn't matter how far you lean the bike just keeps going wide because you can't turn because these potholes are bouncing the bike so bad. And it kind of helps if it's not too loose and you can get back on the gas and use the back end to finish the turn, but you can't always do that, especially if there's traffic coming or something like that. So we really had to be careful. But once we get up on that part of North Fork Road and it starts heading to the northwest and following the river, off to the east, you see the big mountains, where the actual glaciers are and stuff that everybody goes and sees. And it's just really, you got the river kind of in the foreground, fresh trees, the sun coming in over the top of the mountains because it was, I don't know, 4 o'clock, 4:30. Just really pretty, really pretty. And then we finally got to this stretch where it was kind of just long, straight, really nicely paved. And this was a part of the road that runs through private property, and there's all these really expensive homes on either side of the road. So obviously they know somebody, and they got their part of the road paved. But then you clear that, and it goes back to this just really rough. Some sections are like kind of steep downhill where you just kind of have the back-to-back S curves, and you're bouncing around and trying to pick your way through these potholes. Eventually it drops out and you come to Polebridge, and there's a little mercantile store there that's been there supposedly since like 1914. Yeah, 1914. Man, you pull up in the parking lot, it reminds me of pulling up in front of Love Orchard in Medina, the place that does all the apple stuff and apple cinnamon. You pull up in the parking lot of this place and the smell is unreal. They got a full-blown bakery inside. They're making pastries and all kinds of stuff. Now, everybody says to get the Bear Claw, and it was this Huckleberry Bear Claw. It was big. I wasn't that hungry. I didn't need that much sugar. I didn't get that. I just got a root beer. It was some weird name I'd never heard before, but it was a really good root beer. And we just kind of hung out on the front porch for a while and met a couple from Sacramento, California, and just visited with them and talked to them. They were kind of on the last day of their trip. And they pretty much spent the whole day just sitting on the front porch, meeting people from all over, talking to them. A huge pizza was brought out to them while we were sitting there. And we just kept visiting for, I don't know, an hour or more. There is a full-blown grill and saloon, like restaurant next door to the Mercantile. They have restrooms in the back, seating areas, outdoor seating areas. Looked like they might have some cabins to rent. I think they rent electric bikes. And then you could go on past that and go to the ranger station and go on out to like Bowman Lake and the other lakes that are up north, where there's camping areas. And originally that's where I was thinking we would try to get to if we were going to come in the back way, but this worked out better because as we're heading up towards Polebridge, I'm seeing all these signs saying that route was closed. So yeah, it would have sucked if we tried to get in there and got in real far only to find out it was closed, and we had to do a lot of backtracking. So for those of you who are praying for us on this trip, I don't know, maybe it works for stuff like that. It's kept us safe. The bikes are still running. None of us are injured. Sarah's shoulder's doing much better. We're all getting tired just from the riding. So I've been trying to keep the routes shorter, we haven't been doing as much dirt because that takes a lot more energy. Today was the first serious dirt day we've done in a while because once we got out to the Polebridge and decided it was time to leave, we had to backtrack all that dirt and gravel and everything all the way back to town. So we wound up doing probably, I don't know, 240, 250 miles today. I mean, it was a pretty good day. Got back to town. Started trying to find dinner, only to find out that like everything in this town, restaurant-wise, closes, at least their lobby, if it's a fast food place, at like 7 o'clock. Apparently, they just can't find any help. No one's willing to work, and so they just close. At best, they might keep their drive-through open till maybe 9 or 10, and then they close down. I thought, well, okay, IHOP's 24 hours. We'll try IHOP, and it's like 10 o'clock. They close down. And it didn't get real good reviews here. Finally found this place called DeSoto Bar and Grill. Got an Uber. It's kind of off the edge of downtown, kind of a sketchy looking area, you know. And when you pull up to it, it's really dark. It's not well lit. The parking lot's not well lit. It doesn't really look like a restaurant. It's a long rectangular building that looks like a barn, and it's got a sliding barn door on the front. And there's a little sign on the front that just says DeSoto Bar and Grill. And then you open it up, and it's got this, you know, dingy, lots of stuff everywhere, like Cracker Barrel, old stuff stuck on the walls, and it's kind of a bar, you know, like it says. Kind of loud, but now I'm getting old. You know, everything's loud nowadays. It's annoying. I can't hear the talk. It drives me crazy. But the food was good. Sarah got a bowl of chili for like $9. She said it was really good and was huge. Got cornbread with it that she really liked. I got basically a brisket sandwich, sliced brisket sandwich. It was like $18, but it was good. And it came with a giant bowl of mac and cheese, which was not Cracker Barrel mac and cheese, but it was still good. Tiny cups of water. I don't know what was up that. Little cups of water that were maybe 3 inches tall, like little bitty jelly jars, tiny jelly jars. So you take 2 sips and you're done. So you're constantly having to get your glass refilled. Very annoying. I don't know what they were thinking with that. But, you know, we got there late. They were open. We ate our meal. They closed at 9. We got out of there 9:20. The Uber guy finally came, picked us up. Got back to the hotel. And, yeah, it's been a good day. Tomorrow, we're going to try to do the Going to the Sun Highway, but, you know, we can't get on that road because we don't have the road permit or vehicle permit until after 3 o'clock. And from what I've been told, you know, talk to a buddy, Keith Jordan, who's up here, Leroy on the 2 Texan site. You don't want to be on the road between 6 a.m. and 3 o'clock anyway because there's so many people. He said, go after 3. Don't worry about the reservation. The problem is I got to be out of my hotel by 11, and then that gives us 4 hours to kill before we can get on the road. So I think tomorrow what we're going to do is we're going to run back up to the pole bridge. I'll probably get one of those bear claws just, you know, because everybody says to do it. Might ride a little bit north of that because we're going to have time to kill. Maybe go up and check out the Bowman Lake campground just to see it. You know, do a little more dirt. And then maybe 2:15, 2 o'clock, something like that. Head back down to the Camas Road that cuts over to the start of the Going to the Sky. Run that over to St. Mary. And depending on how we feel, see if we can't find a place to camp or one of the hotels over there hopefully might have room. They're still pretty busy right now, even though it's after Labor Day. Apparently they got about another week or more before things start to kind of slow down. We are starting to see a little bit of color in the trees. Trees up here are starting to change, aspen trees and stuff, so really pretty. So we'll see how tomorrow goes, but that's a wrap for today.